Welcome to the Meanie Head Podcast. We're here to be a bunch of meanie heads. I guess it's also Tuesday, sometime in October. And we're going to get more into Outsiders getting closer to killing kids. I have unlocked the homework, and then we're going to talk about the homework, because in a moment you're going to start giving me examples. And we're going to see all two things you've highlighted so far, which we'll talk about here in a moment. Friday's quiz will go to the end of chapter 4. We'll talk about that.
No. Hey.
Tomorrow is iLearn, and so you have 2 hours at the beginning of the day as far as the iLearning thing goes. So tomorrow's schedule is 2 hours of iLearn, and then period 1, period 4, which is normal length because you get to have lunch, and then 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And the rest of them are all going to be little half-hour classes. We have never taken this iLearn tomorrow. You were the first kids to ever take it, because we used to do big iLearn that was like super long, and now they broke it up into a whole bunch of little iLearns. But we have no idea how long this iLearn is going to take you tomorrow. They're giving us 2 hours. It might take you 20 minutes. We don't know. When you get done, though, the only thing you're allowed to do is sleep, draw, or read a book. So I highly recommend bringing a book or bringing something to draw with, or being tired. But that's all you get to do after iLearn, and I do not know how much time you will have. So I just figured I'd let you know. Hi, Henry.
I don't learn.
Good job. Hi, Ben.
Do you think I could bring a pillow to sleep with?
Talk to your first period teacher. You don't have me. Hi, Elena. Same thing I told this kid. Good thing you were paying attention then.
Just gracious.
So we had several of you in here, 4 of you, who chose to spend B points because you have not turned in the thing from the conversation on Friday. So those of you I'm trying to make eye contact with to let you know that you have not turned it in, just letting you know you spent the 3 points and it's a 0, then tomorrow you have to stand. Hopefully you'll get it submitted. The rest of you, thank you. I've been going through and reading what you guys have, but the 4 of you might want to get it turned in at some point, so then I don't have to, take away your right to sit in a chair tomorrow. The rest of you, thank you for getting it turned in. And not spending the B points they spent. Snacks is now officially active. If you want them, currently I have goldfish, cheese crackers, and granola bars. You just have to talk to me before or after class, and then you are good to go from there. As far as the haunted housey thing goes, I started setting it up stuff last night. So again, that'll be Thursday night. If you come by, this is sort of what it looks like. Because I had a picture last year. There's like a little tenty thing that goes out front. That's sort of like a little waiting room as you step into it. And then that was what I was wearing last year, where I had like a little gnome that was carrying me around. Anyway, so it gives you an idea of what's coming up. Hi, Caleb.
My brother made I'm going with my friend and my brother, and he made an entire map for which houses we're going to go to, and one of them is your house.
Oh, I made the list. Thank goodness. I went out to Sam's Club last night and bought, I think, 500 Airheads. Normally I give out full-size candy bars, but they didn't really have good ones in stock, so I just bought a whole bunch of Airheads, and I figured not like those little Airheads, but like the long Airheads. And so I figure I'll give out like 2 of those as you make. But you have to make it through the haunted house. If you're too scared, all you get is a starburst. Because sometimes little kids come up and they freak out and run away, so I just give them a little starburst instead. Hi, Elena again.
We should get 3 because we're your student.
Yeah.
Definitely do that. Any kid that I like will get 3.
Yes.
None
So
of
nobody.
Nobody. So no one here.
Wait, what if we reject the
I
garage?
think guys were reading my mind on that
I get
one.
4. I'm a bad.
So,
I'm better talking -4.
yes, after you come out, you have to give me your candy. So back to story. This part. So what I'm going to have you do now is you're going to find 2 of your examples, because I'm getting ready to look into your souls and have you give me one of your examples. But if someone has already stolen your example, you can't give that one. So that's why you're going to have a backup example. So what you're going to be doing is telling me what page number we can find it on, what it is it says in the book, and then how it connects. So, as an example, page 15, it says, I pulled out my switchblade. And if you just put, I like knives, I like failing kids. I mean, you can like knives, you just have to give me more information than that. You can't just put, I like knives, this other one. I like hair, this other one. I like restaurants, this other. Yeah, that's not really giving me any information. What I'm looking for is like, when my brother was 7, oh, he played with my dad's pocket knife and cut his finger so badly, he still has the scar to this day. That's a connection that I have some information about. So when you're making your connection, if you finish and I go, I like knives, that's my way of making fun of you, saying that you did not give me much information. Like, I had a kid in first period who underlined the word cheese, and she was like, I like to have cheese on hamburgers. And then the next page, she underlined hamburgers and said, I like to have hamburgers with my cheese. And she was like, am I good? And I'm like, I like knives. So hopefully that gives you an idea of where we're going to be. What I'm doing right now is babbling for a second to buy you a moment as I get ready to call on you and look into your souls. We're getting ready to find out whose soul is speaking to me. And I'll leave this up there to help you out. Were you waving at me, Will, or were you just saying like, I like knives? Will, let's find out how much you like knives.
I did.
What page?
On page 19.
19?
I did Cokes because my brother's like addicted to it.
Alright. I like knives. Alright. And let's go with Hadley.
What?
That's you. Look for the pages that have highlighting on them.
On page 20, he started out bad and got worse because my friends will say like the most dumb and like heinous stuff out loud, and I just have to sit there and like be embarrassed because they're dumb.
That is some good friendship you've got going there. Go you on that one. And then we'll go with Noah.
Hi.
I know.
On page 4, I highlighted I make good grades, but I don't use my head because most of the time I don't even study it, but somehow still get good grades, which, yeah.
Lucky.
Good job. Joshua?
On page 7, it says you got cut up a little. In spring break, I was playing football with my friends during recess, and we collided heads.
Let him go.
No, right before spring break. Sorry. And so I got to leave school early. Yeah,
I saw him. It was right there.
Do you still have a scar?
yeah, a little bit. It was.
I would like to see-
You got stitches.
He said it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Well, I believe him. It was his head.
I like
Good job, Joshua. Caroline.
So on page 22, Dally says, I'm never nice. That's you.
And
I like
that's
knives.
a short one.
And all right, Finley.
Okay. It
She
said I'm
dead?
not scared of all nice girls, but some
What page?
mostly it's like just take out the nice.
What
I'm not
page?
scared of
What
all.
page?
22.
22. And then what did it say?
I'm not scared of all nice girls.
Okay. And then you're changing out the nice
Yeah.
and just putting I'm scared of all girls.
Half scared.
Okay. Yeah, this is the part where you explain it.
Oh.
She should
it's,
get attacked every day.
My brother's scared of like every single
Girl?
Yep.
Thanks.
I want to go.
Okay. What you got?
I highlighted crazy on page 5 because you're insane.
I also highlighted crazy.
I like knives.
I like yours in.
And yes, helping.
On page number 1, I highlighted rarely bothers to get a haircut because my brother doesn't like getting haircuts.
All right. You guys really like knives. Tomorrow, we will pick up a bit more. For those of you who have gotten a little bit farther, not a bad start for the first time from there. Again, we have the writing things down and hopefully helping you guys out. I was hoping if you heard other people's, maybe that would help you a little bit as we go through and we'll see what we can do from there. I'll keep finding the things that connect for me. Let's see, for you guys, we finished chapter 1, so we have our greasers, and we have our socias, which
Socks.
I know, none of you guys underline socks and put, I wear socks every day.
Oh, I should do that.
No, you shouldn't. And then we have the hubcaps with the whole stealing of the hub. Ooh, who is it that steals the hubcaps?
Me.
Let's go.
You stole a hubcap off the side of the road.
Not.
Stole
It's not stealing when it's just sitting in the trash.
That's stealing.
Yeah,
You're
you're stealing it from the
trash.
You're stealing it from the trash can.
Which is Soda's best friend. Hi, Henry.
So, can I go?
Yeah, tomorrow. So we have Steve as the one that was stealing the hubcaps, because that apparently was his hobby that he was good at. And there's all of our hunky people. And then we got to, let's see, what are cools again?
Cigarettes!
You sound so excited.
Yeah, I love cigarettes.
Good thing that's on video.
Why is it smoking?
Then the drive-in restaurant where they go to hang out. And they have the different ones. Then we got the drive-in. I did find better picture of drive-in theater. So this gives you an idea of what it is with all the people parked around. It's a slightly newer one there.
I just
So
want
the
to add
little
like
poles
a
that are all over the place. And then I tried to find pictures of like the little seats that are up front that they're sitting in. So, good job. Your news and recognition skills are strong. I think we had just gotten past guest jockey. Which is what Joey does.
It's illegal.
Oh, we're not there. Okay. We'll stay on guest jockey for now.
That's me, Mr. Bro.
Cigarettes are awesome.
So as we continue, for the most part, if you find things you want to underline them. Again, I mean, we have several more chapters. You don't have to freak out yet as we continue. But hopefully we'll get into entertaining stuff as we continue from there. I'm going to find out. Hang on.
2,650.
Page 22.
It's 24.
About halfway down where it says, Dally merely shrugged and strolled off. Hi, Bella.
I want to highlight stuff and say, not me.
Well, as long as it all comes down to your explanation of how much you like knives. So, if you can explain it well, sure, that works for me. I'm going more for the explanation than I am for you just finding a random thing. Oh yeah, we had the two girls that Dally was flirting with?
Me too.
Yeah, well,
Bullying.
for those girls out there, this is what they always tell you, that when boys like you is when they make fun of you and pull your pigtails. Here, I think Dally's doing the same thing. Dally's not real good at interacting with attractive girls, and so
Yeah,
the thing that he does is make fun of them.
This logic doesn't seem to be true in all situations.
You'd be shocked. Dear Dally merely shrugged and strolled off. The girl looked at me. I was half scared of her. I'm half scared of all nice girls, especially Sosha's, just like Finley wrote down. Are you gonna start in on us? I shook my head wide-eyed. No. Suddenly, she smiled. Gosh, she was pretty. Yeah, you don't look the type. What's your name? I wish she hadn't asked me that. I hate telling people my name for the first time. Ponyboy Curtis? Then I waited for, you're kidding, or that's your real name? Or one of the other remarks I usually get, Ponyboy's my real name, and personally, I like it. The redhead just smiled. That's an original and lovely name. My dad was an original person. I've got a brother named Soda Pop that says so on his birth certificate. Well, my name's Sherry, but I'm called Cherry because of my hair. Cherry Valance. I know. You're a cheerleader. We go to the same school. You don't look old enough to be going to high school, the dark-haired girl said. Well, I'm not. I got put up a year back in grade school. Cherry was looking at me. Well, what's a nice, smart kid like you running around trash like that for? I felt myself stiffen. I'm a Grease, same as Dally. He's my buddy. Oh, I'm sorry, Ponyboy. Then she said briskly, your brother Soda Pop, does he work at a gasoline station? A DX, I think? DX is a name for a station like Shell, Amoco, Marathon, Rickers, or something like that. Yeah. Man, your brother's one doll. I might have guessed you were brothers. You look alike. I grinned with pride. I don't think I look one bit like Soda, but it's not every day I hear Soshas telling me they think my brother's a doll. Didn't he used to ride in rodeos, like Saddle Bronc? Yeah, Dad made him quit after he tore a ligament, though. We still hang around rodeos a lot. I've seen you two barrel race. You're good. Thanks, Cherry said. And the other girl, who was named Marcia, said, how come we don't see your brother at school? He's not any older than 16 or 17, is he? I winced and sighed. I told you I can't stand it that Soda dropped out. he's a dropout. Dropout made me think of some poor, dumb-looking hoodlum wandering the streets, breaking out streetlights. It didn't fit my happy-go-lucky brother at all. It fitted Dally perfectly, but you could hardly say it about Soda. Johnny came back then and sat down beside me. He looked around for Dally, then managed a shy hi to the girls, and then tried to watch the movie. He was nervous, though. Johnny was always nervous around strangers. Cherry looked at him, sizing him up as she had me, then she smiled softly. I knew she'd sized him up right. Dally came striding back with an armful of Cokes. He handed one to each of the girls and then sat down beside Cherry. "This might cool you off." She gave him an incredulous look, and then she threw her Coke in his face. "That might cool you off, greaser. After you wash your mouth and you learn to talk and act decent, I might cool off too." Dally wiped the Coke off his face with his sleeve and smiled dangerously. Now, if I'd been Cherry, I would have beat it out of there. I knew that smile. "Fiery, huh? Well, that's the way I like 'em." He started to put his arm around her, but Johnny reached over and stopped him. "Leave her alone, Dally." "Huh?" Dally was taken off guard. He stared at Johnny in disbelief. Johnny couldn't say boo to a goose. Johnny gulped, got a little pale, but he said, "You heard me. Leave her alone." Dallas scowled for a second. Now, if it'd been me, or Two-Bit, or Soda, or Steve, or anyone but Johnny, Dally would have flattened him without a moment's hesitation. You just didn't tell Dally Winston what to do. One time in a dime store, a guy told him to move over at the candy counter. Dally had turned around and belted him so hard it knocked a tooth loose. It was a complete stranger, too. But Johnny was the gang's pet, and Dally just couldn't hit him. He was Dally's pet, too. Dally got up and stalked off, his fists jammed into his pockets, and a frown on his face. He didn't come back. Cherry sighed in relief. Thanks. He had me scared to death. Johnny managed an admiring grin. You sure didn't show it. Nobody talks to Dally like that. She smiled. From what I saw, you do? Johnny's ears got red. I was still staring at him. It had taken more than nerve for him to say what he'd said to Dally. Johnny worshipped the ground Dallas walked on, and I'd never heard Johnny talk back to anyone, much less his hero. Marcia grinned at us. She was a little smaller than Cherry. She was cute, but that Cherry Bounds was a real looker. Y'all sit up here with us. You can protect us. Johnny and I looked at each other. He grinned suddenly, raising his eyebrows so they disappeared under his bangs. Would we ever have something to tell the boys? His eyes said plainly. We picked up 2 girls, classy ones at that. Not any greasy broads for us, but real socias. Soda would flip when I told him. Okay, I said nonchalantly. Yeah, might as well. I sat between them, and Johnny sat next to Cherry. How old are y'all? Marcia asked. 14, I said. 16, said Johnny. That's funny, Marcia said. I thought you were both 16. Cherry finished for her. I was grateful. Johnny looked 14, and he knew it, and it bugged him something awful, which seemed to be the same thing you guys said about him when you saw his pictures, that you guys said that Johnny looked really young. And apparently, yeah, he's supposed to look really young. Johnny grinned. How come y'all ain't scared of us like you were Dally? Cherry sighed. You two are too sweet to scare anyone. First of all, by the way, that was the part I highlighted in my book where it says you're too sweet to scare anyone, and I just put myself. Because it seemed rather accurate from what I understand.
What's your explanation?
The fact that I smile all the time and kids come up to talk to me, and just the other day as I was walking down the street, cotton candy started just to form around me because of how sweet I was. Some people call them clouds, but whatever. Yeah.
Will I get extra points if I put that in mine?
No, but you could get normal points. I like knives. You two are too sweet to scare anyone, like your English teacher. First of all, you didn't join in Dallas's dirty talk, and you made him leave us alone. And when we asked you to sit up here with us, you didn't act like it was an invitation to make out for the night. Besides that, I've heard about Dallas Winston, and he looked as hard as nails and twice as tough. And you two, you don't look mean. Sure, I said friendly. We're young and innocent. Does that one describe me better?
No.
Complete opposite.
Definitely not the young part.
Ouch! Right here. No, Cherry said slowly, looking at me carefully. Not innocent. You've seen too much to be innocent. You're just not dirty. Allie's okay, Johnny said defensively, and I nodded. You take up for your buddies, no matter what they do. When you're a gang, you stick up for the members. If you don't stick up for them, stick together, make like brothers, it ain't a gang anymore. It's a pack. A snarling, distrustful, bickering pack, like the Socias and their social clubs, or the street gangs in New York, or wolves in the timber. He's tough, but he's a cool old guy. He'd leave you alone if he knew you, I said. And that was true. Now, when Steve's cousin from Kansas came down, Dally was decent to her and watched his swearing. We all did around nice girls who were the cousinly type. I don't know how to explain it. We try to be nice to the girls we see once in a while, like cousins or the girls in class, but we still watch a nice girl go by on a street corner and say all kinds of lousy stuff about her. Don't ask me why. I don't even know why. Well, Marcia said with finality, I'm glad he doesn't know us. I kind of admire him, Cherry said softly, so only I heard. And then we settled down to watch the movie. Oh yeah, we found out why they were without a car. They'd come with their boyfriends, but walked out on them when they found out the boys had brought some booze along. The boys had gotten angry and left. I don't care if they did, Cherry sounded annoyed. It's not my idea of a good time to sit in a drive-in and watch people get drunk. You could tell by the way she said it that her idea of a good time was probably high class and probably expensive. They decided to stay and see the movie anyway. It was one of those beach party movies with no plot and no acting, but a lot of girls in bikinis and some swinging songs, so it was all right. We were all four sitting there in silence when suddenly a strong hand came down on Johnny's shoulder and another on mine, and a deep voice said, "Okay, greasers, you've had it!" I almost jumped out of my skin. It was like having someone leap out from behind a door and yell boo at you. I looked fearfully over my shoulder, and there was Two-Bit grinning like a chessy cat. Two things to stop real quick. One, when they were talking about these movies, they were super popular for a while throughout the 50s and 60s, where they were sort of like Marvel movies, but instead of superheroes, it was girls and guys in swimsuits. And so they had a whole bunch of them that came out, and there was like this whole series of them, like Marvel movies. But again, it was just people dancing on beaches. I don't know why. Your grandparents were special people. But this was before my time, during the dinosaur days, and these were really popular. The other thing is, when they say that Two-Bit is smiling like a chessy cat, they're referring to the Cheshire Cat. Do you know who the Cheshire Cat is?
Maybe on the sits in the chair with your owl.
There you go. That's referring. So Two-Bit has a giant smile on his face. So that's when they say a chessy cat. He's just got a big old goofy grin on his face. Glory, Two-Bit, you scared us to death. He was good at voice imitations and had sounded for all the world like a snarling Soch. Then I looked at Johnny. His eyes were shut and he was white as a ghost. His breathing was coming in smothered gasps. Two-Bit knew better than to scare Johnny like that. And I guess he'd forgotten. He's kind of scatterbrained. Johnny opened his eyes and said weakly, "Hey, Two-Bit." Two-Bit messed up his hair. "Sorry, kid, I forgot." He climbed over the chair and then plopped down beside Marcia. "Who's this? Your great-aunts?" "Great-grandmothers, twice removed," Cherry said smoothly. Now, I couldn't tell if Two-Bit was drunk or not. It's kind of hard to tell with him. He acts boozed up sometimes, even when he's sober. He cocked one eyebrow up and then the other down, which he always does when something puzzles him, or bothers him, or when he feels like saying something smart. Shoot, you're 96 if you're a day. I'm a night, Marcia said brightly. Okay, for this next part, it's going to be confusing, so allow me to explain. Sometimes, when a guy and a girl like each other, they do this thing called flirting. And it's real awkward to everyone who's around it. But when you're doing the flirting, it feels like the riz is everywhere. But the people watching it from the outside is very cringy. So what we're going to have here in this next part is 2-Bit is going to do this flirty thing, which for him feels rizzy. For you guys, it's going to feel weird and cringy. So just giving you a heads up. This is what I get to see all the time in the hallways at school when I see people flirt with each other, and I'm like, eeh. And they're like, Rizrific, and I'm like, yeah. And so just giving you an idea. Now, back to our show. Let's see. Shoot, you're 96 if you're dead. I'm a knight, Marcia said brightly. 2-Bit stared at her admiringly. Brother, you're a sharp one. Where'd you two ever get to be picked up by a couple of greasy hoods like Pony and Johnny? We really picked them up, Marcia said. We're really Arabian slave traders, and we're thinking about shanghaiing them. They're worth 10 camels apiece, at least.
What?
Right? It's confusing when you see flirting from the outside. You're like, what are you talking about? That's what's happening. I don't know what's going on. It's just weird. Whatever. 5, 2-Bit disagreed. They don't talk Arabian, I don't think. Say something in Arabian, Johnny Cake. Cut it out, Johnny broke in. Dally was bothering them, and when he left, they wanted us to sit with them, to protect them. Against wise-cracking greasers like you, probably. 2-Bit grinned. Burn! Because Johnny didn't usually get sassy like that. Half of you can underline the getting sassy like that and just say, yeah, now I figured. We thought we were doing good if we could get him to talk at all. Incidentally, we don't mind being called greaser by another greaser. That's kind of playful then. Hey, where is old Dally anyway? He went hunting some action, booze or dames or a fight. I hope he doesn't get jailed again. He just got out. Oh, he'll probably find the fight, 2-Bit stated cheerfully. That's why I came over. Mr. Timothy Shepard and Company are looking for ever so kindly slashed their car's tires. And since Mr. Curly Shepard spotted Dallas doing it, well, does Dally have a blade? Not that I know of, I said. I think he's got a piece of pipe, but he busted his blade this morning. Good. Tim will fight fair if Dally don't pull a blade on him. Dally shouldn't have any trouble. Cherry and Marshall were just staring at us. You don't believe in playing rough or anything, do you? Psh, a fair fight isn't rough, 2-Bit said. Now, blades, those are rough. So are chains and heaters and pool sticks and rumbles. So when they're talking about that pool stick, they don't mean pool noodles, the little foam things. Those aren't, you don't use those in fights. That's not scary. But a pool stick, you can donk somebody on the head. A heater means a gun, because when you shoot it, it gets hot, and then the people come after you. And then chains. So that's what they're talking about when they fight each other. Now, skin fighting? Pfft, that isn't rough. It just blows off steam better than anything. There's nothing wrong with throwing a few punches. See, you guys could have used this excuse last year when you guys were getting into all your fights in 6th grade. You just be like, whatever, it's just skin fighting. Back off, old people. Good time.
I should try saying that.
Right? Now, socias, they're rough. They gang up on one or two, or they rumble each other with their social clubs. Us greasers, we usually stick together, but when we do fight among ourselves, it's a fair fight between two. And Dally deserves whatever he gets, because slash tires ain't no joke when you got to work to pay for them. He got spotted, too. That was his fault. Our one rule, besides stick together, is don't get caught. And don't post it to social media. He might get beat up. He might not. Either way, there's not going to be any blood feud between our outfit and Shepard's. If we needed them tomorrow, they'd show. If Tim beats Dally's head in and then tomorrow asks us for help in a rumble, we'll show. Dally was getting kicks. He got caught. He pays up. No sweat. Yeah, boy. Cherry said sarcastically. Real simple. Sure, Marcia said, unconcerned. If he gets killed or something, you just bury him. No sweat. Yeah, you dig okay, baby. Two-Bit grinned and lit a cigarette. Anyone want a weed? Here, weed is not marijuana. Weed is... Sorry, marijuana wasn't really a thing back at this time, so they just mean a cigarette for those of you who got all excited. You're like, I'm gonna hide! Oh, I guess not. I looked at Two-Bit admiringly. He sure put things into words good. Maybe he was still a junior at 18 and a half, and maybe his sideburns were too long, and maybe he did get boozed up too much, but he sure understood things. Cherry and Marcia shook their heads at his offering of cigarettes, but Johnny and I reached for one. Johnny's collar was back, and his breathing was regular, but his hand was shaking ever so slightly. A cigarette would steady it. Ponyboy, sorry, wrong voice. Ponyboy, will you come with me to go get some popcorn? I jumped up. Sure. Y'all want some? I do, said Marcia. She was finishing the Coke Dally had given her. I realized then that Marcia and Cherry, they weren't alike. Cherry had said she wouldn't drink Dally's Coke if she was starving, and she meant it. It was the principle of the thing. But Marcia saw no reason to throw away a perfectly good free Coke. Me too, said Two-Bit. He flipped me a 50-cent piece. Yeah, get Johnny some too. I'm buying. He added as Johnny started to reach into his jeans pocket. We went to the concession stand, and as usual, there was a line a mile long, so we had to wait. Quite a few kids turned to look at us. You don't see a Kid Grease and a Sochi cheerleader together very often. Cherry didn't even seem to notice. Your friend, the one with the sideburns, he's okay? She means Two-Bit. He ain't dangerous like Dallas, if that's what you mean. Yeah, he's okay. She smiled, and her eyes showed that her mind was on something else. Johnny, he's been hurt bad sometime, isn't he? It was more of a statement than a question. Hurt and scared? It was the Socias, I said nervously, because there was plenty of Socias milling around, and some of them were giving me funny looks as if I shouldn't be with Cherry or something, and I don't like to talk about it either. Johnny getting beat up, I mean. But I started in, talking a little faster than I usually do because, I don't know, I just don't like to think about it either. This is a flashback scene. It was almost 4 months ago. I'd walked down to the DX station to get a bottle of pop and to see Steve and soda because they'll always buy me a couple of bottles and let me help work on the cars. I don't like to go on weekends because then there's usually a bunch of girls down there flirting with soda. All kinds of girls, too. Socias, too. I don't care too much for girls yet. Soda says I'll grow out of it. I mean, he did. It was a warmish spring day with the sun shining bright, but it was getting chilly and dark by the time we started for home. We were walking because we'd left Steve's car at the station. At the corner of our block, there's a wide open field where we play football and hang out. It's often a site for rumbles and fistfights. We were passing it, kicking rocks down the street and finishing our last bottle of Pepsi when Steve noticed something lying on the ground. He picked it up. It was Johnny's blue jeans jacket, the only jacket he had. Looks like Johnny forgot his jacket, Steve said, slinging it over his shoulder to take it by Johnny's house. Suddenly, he stopped and examined it more carefully. There was a stain the color of rust across the collar. He looked at the ground. There were some more stains on the grass. He looked up and across the field with a stricken expression on his face. I think we all heard the low moan and saw the dark, motionless hump on the other side of the lot at the same time. Soda reached him first. Johnny was lying face down on the ground. Soda turned him over gently, and I nearly got sick. Someone had beaten him badly. Unfortunately, that's where I have to stop with you. Now, if you turn 2 more pages, that's what I'm going to give you for homework. It's just to finish chapter 2. We're going to find out what happened to Johnny and why we have all these issues going on. And then tomorrow we will start chapter 3. So I figure what with tonight or with tomorrow with I Learn, we should be able to finish 2 pages. Hopefully. And then tomorrow we'll start with chapter 36. Hopefully our dead kid at home is feeling more alive. Good job, dead kid. Right? Dead kid, whatever your name might be.